Welcome to Change Happened, Then What? A podcast about the messy, beautiful, complicated stuff that comes after life turns upside down. Welcome back to Change Happened, Then What? This is part 2 of Embers Echoes, a special mini series where I am reflecting on season 1 and offering a peek into what's coming next. This is episode 2, What Stayed With Me. And I'm your host, Heather Holt, and I'm so happy to have you with me today. Before I dive in, you may have already noticed something a little different. The podcast artwork has changed from season 1 to season 2. That wasn't just a fresh coat of paint. It's a reflection of how this podcast is growing, just like the stories, just like this community, and just like the vision of this podcast. In last episode, I shared the origin story, how this podcast began, and how your voices and messages turned into something bigger than me. Today, I want to talk about what stayed with me, the conversations I kept thinking about, the words that echoed long after the mic was turned off, and how those moments became the blueprint, or rather, the heartbeat of this show. Because even though every story was different, there were common threads, sparks that were left along the way. One thread was grief and grace. Jeannie taught me that grief can be sacred, that even after the unimaginable, losing her daughter Isla, she found signs, softness, and purpose beyond the pain. She said Isla's moon shows up when I need her, and I've never been able to look at a full moon again without thinking of her. Another was resilience in love. Deb's story and what her canvas couldn't say stayed with me deeply. After her husband's medical accident, their entire life and their love had to be rebuilt from the ground up. She taught me that resilience just isn't about survival, but about choosing love again and again, even when everything looks different than it did before. Then there was transformation through creativity. Eric's story of Shift Happens was raw, messy, and powerful. When art became his only constant in life, he showed us how creativity can both be a lifeline and a mirror. That kind of vulnerability is what makes his story so unforgettable. And Tara Lee, in The Day the Music Changed, reminded me how we can take what some might see as a challenge, like ADHD, and turn it into a gift. She didn't just cope, she created. She transformed her energy into being a DJ, a connector, a light, and found her joy. It's contagious. And here's the thread through it all: resilience. Resilience isn't always loud. Sometimes it sounds like a whisper, I'm still here. And sometimes it's art that saves your life. Sometimes it's the kind of love that rebuilds itself one day at a time. And sometimes it's turning what others might call a limitation into your superpower. These are the blueprints that stayed with me, the ones that helped me heal a little and reminded me of who I am, that gave me permission to keep going, and hopefully gave you the same. So, where are we going next? Season 2 is already unfolding. The theme? New friendships, new truths, and new chapters. I'll be keeping the same storytelling format, and here's what's changing. Full-length episodes will now drop on Tuesdays instead of Thursdays. You'll also see more bonus content sprinkled in. I'll share more about that in next week's episode. And this season, I'll be talking with guests from around the world. New voices, new perspectives, new stories that stretch beyond my circle of friends into something bigger. I'll still be here, listening, guiding, and growing right alongside you. One of my favorite messages I got this year said, "This podcast is a powerful reminder that change isn't the end, it's the beginning." And that's it. That's the blueprint. That's the blueprint of this podcast. We listen, we feel, we heal, and maybe in the end, We even laugh a little too. In the final episode of this mini-series, I'll share what's coming in season 2 and why I believe the next chapter of this podcast might just be the start of something bigger. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for staying. Change Happened, Then What? Is written, edited, and produced by me, Heather Holt, at Holt Hill Studios, with the enthusiastic support of my 2 sidekicks, Waylon and Dalton. Until next time, take care of your heart and keep smiling.
There's always a reason to always choose joy. There's something deeper that the world can't destroy. Smile when you think you can't. Smile, get up and dance. Smile, there's a bigger plan. The storm only lasts for a while. So smile.
If you found value in this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend, following the podcast, or leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more than you know, and I'm so grateful for your support. Our theme music is Smile by Sidewalk Prophets from their album, Things That Got Us Here. You can hear more from them at sidewalkprophets.com. Want to dive deeper into today's conversation? Visit changehappenpodcast.com for guest information, bonus content, and more. Have your own Then What moment you'd like to share? I'd love to hear it. Email me anytime at changepodcast@yahoo.com.